Yeah. Look. When my skin hit the spotlight.
First off, welcome to the podcast. This is Rise of Silence podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm here with my guest, Kashief King. This is actually, I met him last semester. This is my boy. He runs track at the University of Illinois. And first day I saw him walk in the classroom, I was like, who is this tall dude? We was very few black people in the class. So obviously we stuck out, but just talking to him off that, I knew he was different, something special about him. So that was part of the reason I wanted to get you on. So yeah, bro, I'm happy to have you on here.
I'm thankful to be here. Like, it's good to share a story. Sometimes you never know how inspiring it might be to others because people don't really know of the struggles of actually dedicating your entire life to a certain sport, because all they see is the success, but it's like behind the closed doors is how much pain, how much dedication and hard work we actually put into the sport. And then other people, when they do see that, it's like, yo, I don't think I could have put my body through this, because it's a sacrifice to make. Sometimes we all don't reap the benefits of it, but success comes in different forms. You don't have to always make it on the biggest stage to be successful in the sport, because you love what you do, you enjoy what you do. So it's the little things that matter the most.
Yeah, that's something I just learned recently. Going through, I made that transition to switching out of football and looking back. On the field, success wasn't what I wanted it to be, but like what I gained off the field was so much greater than what I even thought it could be. You know what I mean? So it was like, to your point, I gave it everything I had. So I left with no regrets. But at the same time, I gained so much more than, like you were just saying, off the field. So completely agree with you, but I want to dive in to just, how did you even start track? Like, what was that first inclination that you were like, I want to do this?
So I didn't start track because I actually wanted to do track. I started track because growing up back home is like in primary school. We call it primary school. You'll probably call it middle school.
Middle school, elementary school.
Middle school. I was just running races with the kids back home in school on a lunchtime. And like, I would run with the kids who is probably 3-4 grades higher than me, and we're running races around the school. And like, mind you, I'm probably 3-4 years younger than everyone. And every race is like, I came third, I came second. And one of the teachers was like, you have a lot of speed. Why don't come go zonal sports? I went to do track and field at like regional sports. I did well against people who does track and field. And right there is where it started. One of the coaches reached out, told my mom that, I have talent, I could reach so far. And I just went along with it. But mind you, track and field was actually my third sport. At that point in time, I was already playing football, which you all call soccer, and I was playing cricket. So track and field was my third sport, but I was just naturally good at it at a young age. And that is actually how I started. So it had a lot to do with one of my primary school teachers. And till this day, I will always be like thankful for it, because if he did not give me that opportunity to represent the school, then the coaches would not have seen what I had to offer, and who knows, I may be playing a different sport. If I make it to the United States, I don't know how life would have turned out in terms of sport if that opportunity didn't arise.
Yeah. How old were you?
I was 8.
You were 8?
8.
Goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was 8.
Yeah, so you've been running forever. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't imagine starting track that early and running, because I just ran in high school, so that's applaud you for that. But you just said something that I thought like is interesting, because you're one of the only people I know that are on the track team that are from another country, and knowing obviously I know you, so I know you didn't come to the U.S. until you came to college here. So what was that experience like, coming, leaving your country to come somewhere completely different, to come to school, run track, living here with no family? Like, how was that?
So it was a unique change in a sense that I didn't know what to expect, because I didn't come here on a visit. I just came here blind without knowing what to expect. My intentions was never to come to college. I had no intentions of going to school, because at a very young age, all I see myself doing was sport. But, injuries open up our eyes a lot. And when you start to get injured, then I started to realize, like, when you're growing up, your mom always say that you need education. Education is key. And it's only when I started to get injured, I said, you know what? This might be a better option because it would save me money in terms of trying to do something semi-professionally, paying for all the facilities, all the treatment. And the funny thing is that I got a scholarship without running that given year. So I came here in 2018, August. The entire 2018, I was out for the season because I had a ruptured hamstring tendon in January. So I got a scholarship solely based on my performance from the year before, which was 2017. But that had a lot to do with one of the professors in the business school who, he taught us, Mr. Hayden Noel, he reached out to the head coach at the time, and like they were impressed with what they saw, and they probably did a bit of research to see my progress previous years. And then they decided to give me a scholarship. And when I got here, I was surprised because I never been to an institution where the school population was probably 50,000. Like my community alone probably only have about 5,000 people in just my village. So it's like, I came into an institution this big was a drastic change. Like I had an uncle who lives 2.5 hours away, but he's still 2.5 hours away. And like, yeah, we were close, but the relationship wasn't what it was with the ones back home. So it's like, he is a family member. I have love for him, but it's like, he's still distant because I didn't really know him that much to make to the point where it felt like home. I had was to make it home after a period of time, and it became home. But I went through a series of emotions here, like my freshman year. When I got here in August, I had a really good off season because, like I said, I was out all season. And then in February, I did a knee surgery. No, that was my second knee surgery. I did one when I was 17. And then I came here and that was just after my probably 20th or 21st birthday, I did another knee surgery. So I already knew what to expect. But my freshman year, after that knee surgery, like, no one knew. But I went through like a depressed phase. So I was actually like depressed for months between February, March, April, May, until I actually went home and I was around like my day ones, my brothers, my close friends and family. But just not being able to do what I love once again, it weighed on me to the point where I wasn't really speaking to anyone. Now, they say that we have people here at the university to speak to, but I wasn't accustomed speaking to anyone. Like, I would deal with it on my own. And I was to go through that phase on my own. I didn't tell my uncle, my aunt, I didn't tell anyone. I was just going through it on my own. I disconnect from everyone, even people back home. Like, I'm here, but I'm not here at the same time. And it's only after a period of time when I went home, I realized that I actually had was to connect with the ones around me because that's my support. They helped me come out of that depression phase. And it was only when I went home I realized that. So when I came back, I did a much better job of actually connecting with my teammates. So me, my freshman year, and me, my sophomore year, my teammates saw a different person. So that was one of the main stuff that was very impactful for me because I learned a lot about myself also. It's like I don't always have to be like intrinsic, like dependent on me. Like, it's okay to lean on others because you never know mentally how much leaning on others just a little bit might relieve you of some sort of stress or pain you feeling on the inside. Because the moment I did lean on someone, no matter who it was, I actually felt better because, you can't get help unless you speak up. And I didn't speak up, so I learned it the hard way. So now I just try to be that person for my teammates or others that I wanted at the point in time, but I didn't know I actually wanted. So that is how my first year coming to the university went. Like, it didn't really have much joy. The highlight was my knee surgery and the depression.
All right, so I think you just said a lot of really powerful things there. I want to go back though. in that time, you said you were extremely depressed. A lot of people quit in that time. What was the thing that kept you like motivated just enough to keep, you know what I mean, keep pushing through? Because like I said, that's a hard period of time. You're injured. You come in somewhere new your freshman year. Like a lot of people can't mentally get themselves to keep pushing through that. What was it for you that was like, I'm going to keep going? You know what I mean? Even if it was like you were still unhappy and depressed in that time, but you still kept going. What was it that motivating factor?
For me, it was a number of stuff because at that point in time, I was probably already 13 years into the sport. So one of my main things as to myself was already dedicated so much time. Like training is never easy. That's the hardest part. Competition is the easy part.
Yeah.
So when I think about struggles, it's like growing up, I never really used to get injured. I went through a growth spurt. I was injured for probably like 2 months. Recover, never really used to get injured. Like I was a good athlete that constantly grew and developed. And you know when you're winning all the time, you're like, that is what sports is about. Everyone wants to win. But it's in the tough times, like those depression phases, those times when you have like serious injuries, we had to remember that this is also part of the sport because we sign up for this sport to be successful, but we neglect the fact that we will have injuries and obstacles along the way. So me, it was like, I never used to get injured. So when I started getting injured, I was like, yo, keep your head down, keep working, do your rehab, do what you have to do, and your time to shine will come back once again. But don't quit, don't give up. And then my mom, my uncle, which was also my coach, like some of my family members, everybody was like supporters of me to the point where I'm at today. So it was like, I can't just give up. Like giving up wasn't really an option because the opportunity, like gaining a scholarship, at least like a sports scholarship from the Caribbean, is like an opportunity to become a better person, to set yourself up for life. So it's like, even though I was going through a phase where I was like injured, I never thought about quitting because I signed up for this. So I can't back out now when things get hard. Like adversity is part of the journey. It makes the journey wholesome because what is success if you don't know what failure feels like? So, you know, like you had to know what the bottom feels like to know how good the top feels. Because when you're at the top all the time, it's like, I won't say you don't value it, but you don't truly appreciate what it is because you never felt anything else. So I couldn't see myself giving up. So I had a lot of stuff to like hold on to. And then also, I always wanted to be a professional athlete. Like I didn't really see myself like working a 9 to 5 or a job. Like till this day, I don't plan on working for somebody all my life. Like I want to be able to relax also, like, because when you retire, you don't really have anything. So I make the sacrifices that I'm making today and I'll continue to make so that when I reach a certain age, I could say that how I've gained so much. I've already had this. Now I could do what I want to do because I feel as though like we give up and then do what we want to do now, but then struggle later on in life. Now I look at it reverse to the point where I'll make the sacrifices and do what I have to do now to live how I want to live later down the road. Yeah, I could be like everyone else who want to just drink, party, smoke, go here, do everything else and act as though we are not getting older and life isn't real. I accept life for exactly what it is, hard. I had to fight back, I had to push back. So I'm making the sacrifices I had to make now so that 10, 15 years down the road, I don't have to work as hard. Rather than doing all the fun stuff now and then had to work extremely hard when I hit 30s and 40s. It shouldn't be like that.
First off, you just gave me chills. But it's crazy like listening to that because I think that adversity and that mindset that you learn it in sports, right? Like the adversity you face in sports, but it translates into life where it becomes like who you are essentially. That becomes your identity as somebody that is consistently going to push through adversity. And it's like you almost have this mindset of like nothing will stop me. You know what I mean? So it's like it's crazy how just all of those things, you know what I mean, going through the injuries, going through the depression, and even that wasn't, you didn't let it stop you being in a completely new country. You know what I mean? That none of it stopped you. So just continuing on in your track career, would you say you've had the career that you envisioned coming here?
I'll say no, because I didn't think I'll come here and get injured. I also didn't think I'll come here and still be growing.
Mm-hmm.
And I still went through a little small growth spurt where I'll hit like an inch, a half an inch here and there. And then, you know, like track and field is a funny sport to the point where you have a peak. You could run good for 5 years and you could have a slump for 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could be good again for 2 or 3. And I think like I went through a phase where I was stuck in track and field. I would do everything I had was to do, and I still wouldn't make any progression.
Mm-hmm.
That is not because I wasn't doing the right stuff. It just wasn't my time. And that is like one of the adversities if we face. It's like you can't give up because you ain't getting to see the progress or the success that you want. That is where you had to keep on working. And you break doors, you break barriers as time progressed, where you just had to be patient. That's one thing I developed over the past 4.5 years since coming here. Patience is key. Like nothing happens before it's time, no matter how bad you want it to happen. You might not get all what you want, but that don't mean to say you ain't going to get something. And that is just how I view it on the whole.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking 2 years, you were freshman year, you were injured. Sophomore year, you got the run. And in 2020, that's COVID year.
No,
right?
So it was 2018, 2019,
right.
That's when I did my knee surgery. And then it was 2019, going into 2020, COVID came in March.
True.
So
yeah.
Only made it through indoor because we couldn't do outdoor because of COVID. And you don't see guys my size running indoor, but I had us to do it because this is what I signed up for. And this is part of the agreement with scholarship and having indoor and outdoor. I have never did indoor in my life before coming to university.
Mm-hmm.
So I still go through changes till this day. Because throughout everything, this is only my 3rd indoor season. This was only my first healthy indoor season. Last year was my first healthy outdoor season in 5 years. Like, I'm continuously being tested, whether it's physically or mentally, but you had to remember why you signed up. Like, why I fell in love with the sport in the first place, because often at times we forget why we love the sport, why we do it. And then that is when the sport becomes a burden. So it's always good to remember why you're in it. Like, what's the reason for me being in sport? You can't just be in sport. It's like you're doing a job, but you don't really have no goals. You're doing something, you have no aspirations. You ain't trying to achieve anything. You're just there. You ain't going to make any progress. So, that's just how I had was to think and look at life and myself in sport also.
So for you, what is that why? Like, if you had to say 1 to 2 things, what would be that why?
Why I continue to do track and field?
Just why, like in general, I understand, like you talked about what drew you to it, but like, why do you go so hard in it? You know what I mean? Like throughout all the adversity that you continue to push through, that you still love it. You know what I mean? Like we were sitting here just talking about when you first came in, that you still have this love for it after how many years now? 24, right?
24, 25. So
yeah,
let's
so
say
16,
like
17 years.
17 years.
Yeah, like 16 years. That's a long time to love something. You know what I mean? Like, what is that why that made you love it so much?
So like you said, we do a lot of stuff in sport, and everything we learn in sport, it translates to real life.
Mm-hmm.
Sport also builds character. And it's also a means to actually learn a lot more about yourself. So like, one of my main reasons for doing track and field was because it was dependent on me. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to depend on anybody else. I didn't have to worry about my 10 other teammates who might have a bad day and I'm on my good day. So like I said, what you put in the bank in track and field is only what you could take out. So me being able to depend on me, I could count on me all the time because I know exactly what I'm capable of. So that was one of my main reasons for choosing track and field, was because while some people say it's still a team sport because of relays, it's 95% individual sport.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more like dependence. Like I didn't like to depend on anyone for anything. So I took that into sport and I just grew based on that. So if I had to say why I choose track and field, was because of that specific reason. Because cricket was a team sport, soccer was a team sport. Track and field, in my eyes back then, was not, because I didn't like losing. And you could lose in those sports at any given day because of mistakes your teammates make. If I make a mistake, I could own it. And I could know how to be better.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough for everybody to take accountability, no matter how much you want them to take accountability.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was just like, I could depend on me 100 times a week.
Yeah.
And that is why I choose and continue to do track and field. Okay, it made me into the person I am today.
Yeah. So where do you feel like you're at now?
What do you mean exactly?
Just in life, like, because of everything, all the adversity that is built this, like, I see the motivation in you, you know what I mean? Like, and I know you're going to be successful at whatever you touch in life, but like, where do you feel like you're at now, personally?
Personally, I strongly believe this is the best version of myself. I wouldn't change my journey because every obstacle, every challenge that I was faced with, I learned something new and I learned ways of how to overcome it. Mm-hmm. Just like being creative, thinking outside the box. So I wouldn't change my journey. If I could keep the same journey with all the injuries, I'll do that. But I can't because the journey came from the injuries. But I wouldn't change anything because the injuries led to opportunities. The opportunities led to me growing as a person. So I wouldn't change anything. Like, to me, I'm the best version of myself today. And I don't think if I was here or the route I happen to take, I might not be the best version of myself today. Everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
And my coach used to always say that. He say, like, you are good just where you are. You're there for a reason. Like, no matter what happens, this was the best thing for you. And I used to disagree with him because I was, at one point in time, I was the only West Indian being here from the Caribbean by myself. Then Kofi came the year after, but he still grew up in New York probably for like a couple of years. Then female basketball at Janaya, she came, but till this day now, I'm still the only one from the Caribbean, so I never really had that partner in crime. And that is what my uncle used to look at. Well, uncle/coach, he used to look at that and he say, like, you being by yourself is the best thing to happen. And it's only later on, like the last year, 2 years, I've truly saw and understood what he was saying or what he was saying at that point in time. Mm-hmm. Because to me, I just wanted company. And who knows, if I had company, how distracted I would have been.
Yeah. Man, that's deep right there. So, all right, obviously, we're going to transition. First off, I see you got the repping the country, mm-hmm. Trinidad and Tobago shirt. And you just got an award recently.
Yeah.
The Hummingbird Award. How was that moment like getting recognized for who you are now? You know, how was that moment and like what did you feel in that time?
So when I got the Hummingbird medal as well as the Commonwealth Gold Medal for the event, I was like, I didn't see myself getting one after all the obstacles I had or challenges that I was faced with. Like, even though I believe I could always be better, I didn't think I would have gotten that far. Mm-hmm. So like when we won, even though I didn't run the finals, I ran the heat. After all these struggles and stuff I faced throughout the season, I was rewarded. So I looked at the awards as though like, this is my payment of never giving up. Mm-hmm. Like pushing through all the bad days, the tough times. Like, I didn't think I would have got a Hummingbird medal. Like, going into the event, like, we had aspirations and goals to win the gold. Mm-hmm. But if you ask me about a president's Hummingbird medal, I didn't see myself. I didn't see us getting that. It came. So it's just a testament to see that how much of a reward you could gain without actually having your eyes set on that. So I just looked at it as something for my hard work, never giving up.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. Like when I saw that, because obviously I'm not from there, you know what I mean. But when I saw it, you put a post on LinkedIn. The university wrote an article about it, and just I read it and I did some research on it. I was like, man, that's awesome, you know. So it was like, first off, I'm proud of you. Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
And like I said, I'm just in awe, you know what I mean, seeing that all you've been through and that you pushed through and continue to push through. You know what I mean? That was one of the reasons I really wanted to get you on this podcast, because I feel like you're somebody that inspires me. You know what I mean? And it's hard to find that, where you can find people that are on the same level, that are consistently growing and pushing for more. You know what I mean? And that was one thing that I think drew us together early on when we started the MSN program together. You know, so just had to give you your flowers there. But last question I got for you is, if you give anyone advice, what would that advice be? Or if that's hard for you to think, if you could give your 17, 18-year-old self advice, what would that advice be?
Always believe in yourself. Like, even if others don't believe in your goals or what you set out for yourself, you still have to stay true to it. You had to be also real to yourself, because Jeff Burrows and those guys didn't think that those going to be billionaires who started off in garages, their own house. You never know where the journey might take you. I would never give up, because struggle is part of it. Like, you had to fall down in order to stand up. It's not about how hard you could get hit. You had to fight back. That's just the journey. You had to know where you sign up for. You had to commit. You had to commit to it, because hope is useless if you don't work for it. Like, you have to work for what you want. Like, people say dreams don't always come true, but you could live your dream each day. All you had to do is work for it. And I think that it might not or may not turn out exactly how you want it to turn out, but that might be the best thing for you at that point in time, because the journey is the journey regardless. But two things we could do. We could either look at the positive side of the journey or the negative side of the journey. I turn the negative side of my journey into positivity. I use that to be better. I'm not going to pull myself down, because the positive is the positives. Is what you're going to do about the negatives. Mm-hmm. So that's how to keep on pushing it. That's how to stay true to yourself. Because often at times along the journey, we doubt ourselves. We doubt ourselves in times of those injuries. When it's painful after surgeries, it have days where I cry. And the therapist was like, this is part of it. In order to heal, you have to go through the pain. Mm-hmm. And that is something real, because even with everything we do, not just injuries, like when we go through stuff emotionally, like, you can't just try to block the pain away, because it's always going to be there. You have to push through. You have to build upon that in order to come out on the other side. And I think that any advice is, people just stay true. Your parents won't always believe. Your family might not always believe. But once you believe, that is all that matters. You have to believe for you, and you have to believe for everybody else, because everybody else ain't going to help. Everybody else ain't going through the pain and the struggle every day in practice. Mm-hmm. It's all on you. So you have to believe, and you have to work. Don't ever cheat yourself. Because when you cheat yourself and you fall short, you say, what could I have done? That one time where you gave up, that one time you didn't finish therapy, that one time you choose to skip practice, or you didn't choose to study for an exam, where you think you don't need this. Mm-hmm. It comes back in the end. So do everything you can do, to take all the doubts out your mind when you reach the finish line. I give it everything I have. So whatever you get at the finish line, that is what it's meant for you.
Man, bro, I ain't gonna lie, you just dropping bars right there. Like, one day, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna have to coach you in the book, bro, for real. But no, honestly, that's real. You know what I mean? That's something that I've learned over my life. I tried to live by, you know what I mean? Is just giving your all every day. Like I always say, when I die, I want to die empty, where I done gave everything, tapped out my full potential. You know what I mean? Make sure that I gave everything I could to everybody that I touched, so that's real, and that just goes back to what I keep saying, repeatedly. I know that people probably gonna get tired of hearing me say it, but that was one of the things that drew me to you, bro, is seeing that, you know what I mean? Somebody that understands that kind of mindset and not just says it, but truly lives by it, you know what I mean? So no, as much respect, bro. I'm gonna be cheering you on this last season. And you know what I mean? Hopefully we'll see what happens next. I know you got a lot of thinking to do because you still got another year. But
Yeah.
Regardless, bro, I'm gonna be tuned in. Always in your corner for sure.
Also, like from day one when we met in the MSM program, like I shared the same vibe with you. Like I never knew anyone who was into a clothing brand to the point where, you know, they had their own website. I have, like, when I hear you speak about Rise, like if you ask me to come up with 4 words to match the 4 letters with Rise, I still wouldn't have came up with the words that you came up. So it's like to see someone like going so hard in something outside of sport, it just shows that, you know, sport is not always everything. And that is something that we all have to understand. And I understood it. It took me some time. But like seeing you in school, on the football field, your own brand, and how far the brand could actually take you without the help of actually like playing football, is like, those stuff is like also motivation for me. And I think it's for others also, because it's like, I'm sure like there are plenty of people on your football team who probably didn't see you reaching as far. Or probably saying like, you know, that's just another clothing brand, but it's actually not. Because you're looking of ways to like take it to a different level. And how much dedication and love you have for it. So that just shows that everything that I just said about never giving up, believing in yourself more than everybody, because at the end of the day, they ain't going to be in the corner with you. They're going to be the ones to switch, because now they didn't believe, but when you make it, now they believe. So now they want to be buddy. Nah, you didn't believe back then. Keep the same energy.
That's real, bro. And that's the foundations of what this was founded on. You know what I mean? It's just believing in yourself. That was essentially when I started the brand. That was the journey I was on. Is I was betting on myself to come play Division I when nobody else believed in it. You know, and it manifested. This brand was the manifestation of that, and just telling that story. And it was like, now that's why we're here now, to be able to give other people the opportunity to tell their stories of pushing through adversity in pursuit of their dreams, you know. And I think, like, I'm excited to see how this goes, you know, and over the next couple months, and just years to come. You know, I really truly see that we got an amazing team over there that's just gonna be special.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had to get you on early on, you know what I mean? Because you're my boy, and I think you got a phenomenal story, and there's a lot of people that are gonna gain so much from hearing you talk. So I really appreciate you being on, bro. And, you know, I'm looking forward to see what you got coming up in the future for sure.
Me too. It's like, it's only one good day you need. One good day, one good broadcast. Like, it only takes one day, because struggles could last every single day. 10 days, 10 months. But that one day, we don't care about the struggles anymore, because that one day we break down all the barriers that was preventing us from actually taking our next step forward. And I believe that you're well on your way to actually breaking down your own barriers. Like, I may not know exactly what it is, but you know what it is. And you could probably see yourself actually maneuvering around the obstacles. But sooner or later, those obstacles just become like sand in your path. And you're just like walking through it. Like, what is meant for you will always be for you.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.